So tell me where your story begins.
My story started 45 years ago in Chile, where I was born. And at an early age, we had a tough life. When my mother died at the age of 4, I was 4 at the time, and my father was put away in jail, and we were orphans. At the age of 12, we ran away from home. My brother was about 9, and we were able to experience the power of God, His protection, even though we didn't have a relationship with Him. One of the most powerful ways of how God moved in my life and in my brother's life, and I still remember this vividly, was when we were living in the streets. And I remember we were in this plaza in the city of Peñaflor, and my brother was crying because he was hungry and he was in pain. And I remember him laying on the floor, and there was this bench right here, I remember, and for some reason I just decided to cry out to God, God, if you are real, if you're for real, you can take this pain away from my brother. And when I finished our prayer, my brother was still crying on the front. I put my foot down and I lifted my other foot, and there was a coin of 50 pesos. And that was enough to buy some bread, some ham, and keep us going for a few more days. And there are many other examples where I remember where God literally performed miracles in our lives to protect us. Today, thank God, I am extremely blessed. I have a beautiful family. So another way how God showed His love to me and my brother was when the Pennings from Minnesota decided to adopt us. I was almost 15 at the time, my brother was 11, and it was something that to us seemed almost impossible, but they did it. You know, one of the things that my dad tells me now, like I say, hey, why did you adopt us? Why did you adopt my brother and I? You didn't have a lot of money. You had a lot of people that were not supporting you with that. You had to get loans. You didn't even have your own house. And the powerful response that he gave was because God told us to do it. And that to me just spoke even more about the power of God and how He moved in my life, in my brother's life. God continues to move powerfully in our lives, using us, utilizing us, and I believe that someday our kids are also going to be used by God in powerful ways. So one of the things that God is teaching me is that out of bad things, He can do mighty things. I remember when my mother died and we just didn't have parents, you know, we were feeling, my brother and I, we were just feeling miserable, like we didn't know if there even was a God. But in very small ways and through miracles, especially when we live in the streets, God showed us that He was there. He was there with us. And I became a Christian later on when I was adopted. I remember we went to a YWAM, Youth with a Mission camp in Oregon. And even that was a miracle in itself, because I was going to stay home and work. I was 18 at the time. I did not want to go to that camp. And I remember my dad came to me and said, Francisco, if you are not coming with us, we're not going. God's telling me that the entire family should go to this family camp with YWAM. And I had an accident. I remember where I broke my arm sitting in a bike, and I lost my balance, and I broke some bones and damaged some ligaments, and I had to I had a surgery, and I could not work that summer, so I had to go to this camp. So that was another way of how God works in mysterious ways. I made it to the camp, and that's where I literally gave myself to God and decided to start having a relationship with Him in a way that He would be my Savior and my everything. At the family camp was also the place where I met my wife. And if I would have decided to just stay back home and work, I would have missed on that. So again, almost like God was like grabbing me by the ear to go to that camp. We have 4 kids, and again, God continues to work in me in powerful ways, speaking to me sometimes, even just reminding me of everything that He's done for me. Something that I struggle with, and that is something that I've been dealing with since since my mom died and my father was taken away, is my self-esteem. I continue to sometimes have this negative voice telling me that I am not good enough, that I'm not as smart, that I have no value. And I know a lot of that is the enemy trying to push me away from God, but that gives me even more reason to reach out to God and to know that He saved me. He took me from a place where I didn't have a future, and I have value. I am somebody, not because of my efforts, but because He loves me. And one thing that I see in the Bible is that He does have a special heart for the orphans, for the widows, and I don't know why specifically it says that so many times in the Bible, but maybe it's because they need God more than well, everybody needs God, but maybe because they don't have that support. And He reminds me daily, Francisco, I love you. You know, you are more than just good enough. I'm going to use you, regardless of your imperfections, of how you feel at times. I am going to use you powerfully. I'm going to use your children powerfully. Seek my heart. So that's something that I hear often in my heart, in my spirit, and so that would be something that I struggle with. But I know that God is there and He's helping me in that area.